Business School, University of Cape Coast. Thank you very much, Prof, and good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
First, I just went through the statement for my listeners. I'm sure you read that statement yourself. Exactly, what do you think they are trying to communicate?
Well, I think what they are trying to communicate is coming from the perspective of the IMF. IMF has indicated that it is not the details of the agreement that they actually want to grant to Ghana the second tranche. If they get assurance of engagement with their creditors, that will be enough for them to grant the second tranche. So that is why they are going to the IMF on Friday, as indicated, but they don't have a memorandum of understanding. They don't have a details of the so it's just an assurance to the IMF to give us the second tranche. But what it entails, we are yet to know.
So this is on the back of the IMF deal and the promises we've made to them, the things we've promised that we will do.
Yes.
But the fact that they have not yet signed a memorandum of understanding, yet they are giving these assurances, is that usual?
I think the whole Ghana IMF deal is treated as a baby that you love so much, you don't want that baby to die. That is the impression the IMF has created, that whatever it takes to salvage Ghana, they will do that. Whatever it takes to make Ghana achieve the details of the IMF program, they will do it. So that is what we are seeing. Under normal circumstances, you realize that for the domestic debt exchange program, we actually signed and demonstrated that we have all the parties have signed an agreement, and the IMF was content with that. But when it comes to the external creditors, they are saying that all that they want is assurance. So Ghana is being treated with, fine, exemptions. Let me say that. So that's what we are getting, and all these things, it depends on geopolitical development. It also depends on the lobbying ability of the government and what the government seeks to do to the international community, for which that should give and take. So those are the things playing out. We are in an election year. They want to use the IMF deal to see whether they can convince Ghanaians. And the IMF is definitely ready to help them to do that. And that's what we are seeing. Of course, we do know that if a government is going to election and then has gone to the IMF, it's not a panacea for meeting the desire of the people. So the IMF is doing this thing that the government is actually hurting the business community, hurting the households, and hurting the youth across the country with the policies that they are implementing. So it is not the money that is coming that is the issue. That is how Ghanaians see you. That is the issue.
But I know we owe different strands of different groups of people. In fact, the bond market. I'm guessing that this is not part of our agreement. This has to do with the Paris Club in China.
Yeah.
So these are countries that we owe.
So that is why we are describing it as bilateral external creditors. So we will have commercial creditors there, especially those who are giving us loans from private sector entities, those who are bought into our Eurobond. So those ones is around $14 billion. And they are assuming that so long as these people have agreed, then that will be extended to them as if we are now exploring. So that is what is happening. But it doesn't mean so much to us. The importance is that it's giving us 600 million. And we are adding that 600 million to our existing debt. That is what it means to the management of the economy. So we still have a long way to go, and that is why anybody in the political scene should be concerned about the debt of the country. We should be concerned about the debt of the country. Voters should be concerned about the debt and how it's being managed in the country. Political leaders should be concerned about the debt and how it is managed in the country. Very, very important.
So this is a box ticking exercise to get the $600 million. That's all.
That's the essence. If not, so the 600 would have come a long time. It would have come a long time. You know, but it couldn't come because it's a condition, and the condition is flexible. Just get the assurance, and we will give you the money. And it took us almost a year to get the assurance.
See, but you also said it depends on geopolitical developments. Exactly what do you mean by that?
Well, I think that has been expressed over and over again. The American government has indicated that they will not allow Ghana to fall. And they will do whatever it takes to support Ghana to stand because of development in the sub-region. Russia making a lot of incursion into the sub-region. China has made a lot of incursion through debt and investment and trade in the sub-region. And it seems America is lagging, and they want to use Ghana as a case study to demonstrate to the rest of the countries that, look, if you're with us, we will be behind you, we will support you, we'll stand by with you. So that is what is happening now. And Ghana is also being used as a soft spot to see whether that will be ruled out of the encouragement of gay rights openly in the sub-region. And that is why we also see the development surrounding the LGBT bill in Parliament. So this IMF deal is not only about the fiscal management of the country. It's not only about the policy support that the IMF is giving. It has a lot of ingredients hidden in it.
So this is more, this is not really, because from what you're saying, it's not really about us. It's about the U.S. and its allies.
I believe you are aware that the U.S. Vice President came to Ghana, and when he came to Ghana, apart from visiting Cape Coast or so, most of the speeches were bordered on the IMF deal, and he promised he will support the government with somebody who understands finance, and that was done. Somebody was posted to the Ministry of Finance to support the government, and he also promised that they will do everything possible for Ghana to have the deal. And it happened. I don't know what other things will follow. So if anybody is thinking that this IMF deal is only to support us with, our financial situation, then the person must be getting it wrong.
But our situation as Ghanaians is clear. The current economic situation we find ourselves in. To what extent does this kind of news actually help us or put us in a path towards better?
You mean the news of
yes, the debt treatment, the agreement that at least there's going to maybe the payment to be moved forward and everything. To what extent does it help the Ghanaian?
It only helps us to add 600 million onto the debt. It helps us to receive the 600 million, to shore up our currency and to make some monies available. That's all. I believe you are aware that we received 600 million in May. What it actually did was to give some stability to the currency and some reserve show up, and perhaps that is the end. So this one will not be different. It will not change the business environment. The business environment remains very hostile. People are complaining. That will not change the complaints. Corruption is very high. It will remain like that. So this has no serious management of the economy.
I see. Prof, I know you just got to campus, but let me indulge me for a minute. I'll play back to you this thing that was said by former President John Dramani Mahama and take your thoughts on it, because you're also in the public sector in addition to the fact that your knowledge in finance. So give me a moment.
Okay.
And I'll plead with the teachers' unions, NATS and NAGRAT and UTAG and TEU and all of them. And all of you are clamoring for allowances, increase in your allowances, and so on and so forth. Let me caution you that in 2025, inshallah, after we take over, we will show you the books and the finances of this country. And you realize the harm that the MPP administration has done to Ghana's economy. This country is broke. And so we would beg you that when we come into office, give us a bit of a honeymoon. Let's put things in place so that we can bring the economy back on its feet. And when we have done that, we can accede to your demands again. And that's why I'm being very measured in the promises that I make. Because we all know the crisis in which this country has been plunged.
Prof, I'm sure you've heard him. What do you think?
Well, I don't know whether it's the right time or not. But the understanding is that he's very frank to all the constituents. He's talking from experience. You know that when MPP was leaving power in 2008, 2009, they signed on to the single spine salary scheme without any finances to support it. But Prof. Samuels has to take every step to ensure that he pays those salaries. And that was the time that we said that compensation was leading the public expenditure, followed by interest rate, until we get to a time that the interest rate has surpassed compensation. So the former president is actually talking from experience, and he's bringing these people on board to realize that it is not that he will not see to their needs, but we all need to understand what is there, what encumbrances have been engaged in with our finances, and how we can all together structure out how we can help all the stakeholders to be comfortable as the economy is managed. So I believe that is the standard with which we need to assess the statement that he's made. He is not somebody who is naive and novice to the governance of this country. He's actually telling us the reality of the finances of this country and what has happened before and what should not happen again. You see, when you look at governance of countries, especially in developing countries, including Ghana, the idea of the outgoing government sometimes is that let us encumber the finances of this country with this, with that, with that. When they come, then we will tell them, if there is a problem, solve it. If there is a problem, solve it. And then that will be an albatross on the head of the new government. So I believe we need to appreciate what he said from practical point of view, and for good governance and openness point of view of governance.
So you have no issues with this description of Ghana as broke?
The word broke is used in various contexts. As we speak, a lot of our road networks, which have been assigned for contracts, have stopped working. Why? Finances. Our energy sector is having huge problem. Why? Finances. You know, a lot of issues here and there. They are all bordering on finances. We engage in debt exchange program. Why? We cannot pay. Domestic, external, pensioner bondholders were pleading for their own money to be paid to them as a result of the finances of the country. So that is the context within which he is saying it. And I can't tell you what happened in various sectors, education, infrastructure, etc. These are all clear pictures of a country which is having difficulties beyond what is expected of a country like Ghana. So that is the context within which he is saying it. It doesn't mean that if you go to the Bank of Ghana, we don't have any money there. He's not saying that Ministry of Finance doesn't have any money. But we are in a situation where what we have is not able in any way to support the outlay of our expenditure. So if we are adding more, we need to be careful. That does not mean that the teacher unions do not have a say. People look at their salary as an insult. They don't know what to do with their salary, especially if you're not lucky, you have to be taking car before you go to work. Most teachers are using their salary for, most teachers living in the cities are actually using their salary for transport. So he accepts that there is a huge problem that he needs to solve. But these things should not be done arbitrarily. It should not be done in the manner that to punish the incoming government.
Then there's the point of the open book approach. That I will show you the books. To what extent would that help?
Yes, if you want to do mutual engagement, transparency, and disclosure. In fact, these are the tenets of our financial management process. You need to be responsible, you need to be accountable, you need to be transparent, you need to disclose. So he wants to disclose. Of course, when the disclosure takes place, we will know how we are actually doing in terms of revenue mobilization, how the revenue are being distributed. All those things will be open to all the trade, the teacher union or all other people who are related to this discussion will be open to them. Then we will all decide if this is the case. Can we give the government 6 months? Can we give the government 1 year to settle, to put things together before we roll out more expenditure items like compensation, etc. So the president is not saying that this disclosure is going to stop the teacher union from getting what they duly deserve, and from the perspective of our constitution and labor acts, to get sound compensation for the work that they are doing very hard for the country. So, but if you do not open up, if you do not ensure transparency about these things, you will not get the support that you need. And all of us must open up to the reality. It doesn't seem that the transparency that we want is coming. It doesn't mean that the disclosure that we want is coming as we speak right now. So to scale up transparency and openness, especially in the financial management of the country, is good for cohesion, is good for for people to give some time. It's also good for planning, is good for correction of what has been done already.
And Prof, finally, the suggestion is that then he has to be ready to make some sacrifices when he walks into government, show that government itself is making sacrifices. Is that the way to go?
Sacrifices are needed, and I believe he has indicated some already. He has talked about how he would downsize the size of the government. He has talked about how he wants to bring on board efficient expenditure and productive expenditure. How we want to, as a country, tackle issue relating to corruption, issue relating to unbridled tax exemptions that we give to people, reorganizing our industrial policies to be cost effective. All these things, he has said them already. And perhaps if that does not go down well, like the way his 24-hour economy went down well with people, then he needs to revise the speaking point on those issues.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time, Prof, as always.
Grateful.
That's Professor John GATSI, who is Dean, Business School.